This is Dan Dicks here reporting for Press for Truth with breaking news. Hezbollah walkie-talkies have just exploded, killing 14 and leaving hundreds injured in a second wave of carnage in Lebanon, a day after pagers detonated en masse as Israel declares a new phase in this war. This is live updates from Al Jazeera. Multiple blasts go off in different parts of Lebanon, killing at least 14 people and injuring 450 others. The health ministry says a day after simultaneous explosions of pagers used by Hezbollah's members killed 12 people and wounded thousands. The Lebanese group vowed retaliation as it has held Israel fully responsible for these attacks. Israel has yet to decline, and there's really scary videos coming out like this where you can audibly hear multiple pops going off in one apartment building alone. Listen. Bang, 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 bang. These are devices going off. And in case you're unaware of what's going on, really quickly, I'll break it down for you. Yesterday, it is believed that Israeli intelligence, the Mossad, pulled off a Trojan horse attack on Hezbollah fighters in Lebanon, because obviously there's been a war going on between Israel and Palestine ever since last October, and Hezbollah has been, engaging in this more and more. And months back, the Hezbollah leader told all of, his terrorists to get rid of their smartphones, to no longer use cell phones or smartphones because it's too easy for the Israeli intelligence to track them and trace them and keep tabs on what they're doing. So they did that. They got rid of all of them, and they started using old pagers and radios and walkie-talkies. Now, it is believed that the Mossad ended up intercepting these devices somewhere along the supply chain, implanting explosive devices in there, waiting it out a few months only to later pull the trigger, detonate these remotely as they started exploding all over the place at the same time. It's a wild, coordinated attack that truly is a whole new phase of warfare here. As we see here, how Israeli spies stashed explosives in 5,000 European-made pagers at a production level months ago before detonating Hezbollah devices, as a coded text message that triggered these blasts is revealed. And that is really wild too. It's been revealed how these devices work, and I'm going to point that out to you as well. This is inside Israel's Trojan horse pager attack, how these explosives were secretly planted in Hezbollah gadgets in meticulously planned Mossad op, as murky trail emerges from Taiwan to a Hungarian factory. They've traced back the origins of the pagers. It goes back to a Taiwanese company. Of course, that company is saying they have nothing to do with this. They say they licensed it to a company in Hungary, in Budapest. The CEO of that company has already come out saying that they have zero involvement in this. So, take what they're saying with a grain of salt, but it leads to this idea that it looks like Mossad intercepted these devices at some point along the supply chain to implant these explosives. Here's a current official timeline of events. We see here up in the top left, number 1, February, Hezbollah leaders order their members to break their phones amid security concerns. Number 2, the group orders thousands of AR-924 pagers branded by a Taiwanese company called Gold Apollo. Number 3, the Hungarian company, BAC Consulting, manufactures pagers under this licensed deal. Number 4, Mossad agents believed to have concealed explosive in the devices during production. Number 5, the pagers arrive in Lebanon in the spring and are distributed to Hezbollah members. And finally, number 6, Israel sends coded messages to activate explosives months later. So indeed, this is a whole new wave of warfare. There's a new wave of blasts rocking Beirut after the second day as handheld radios explode, over 300 people wounded. Now, I want to remind the Canadian viewers here that the Canadian government has been urging its citizens to leave Lebanon now over a volatile security concern. They've been saying this for months now. This article is from June of earlier this year. Canada tells citizens to leave Lebanon for fear of war between Israel and Hezbollah. That has been what they've been saying for months now. Again, it begs the question, what exactly does the Canadian government know about this particular operation? And there's a lot of other questions being raised too. Some experts are wondering, could your smartphone be next? Experts reveal if mobile phones could also be targeted as Israeli spies coordinate a devastating pager explosion attack on Hezbollah. And that's exactly what I was reporting on yesterday. In this video, breaking, Hezbollah pagers explode, revealing potential ticking time bomb in 5.7 billion people's pockets. Guys, we're going to talk about all of this and much more in this video, but really quickly before we do, guys, I'd ask that you check me out here at pressfortruth.ca/donate. If you appreciate my efforts to bring you this info. Here you can do a one-time donation with PayPal. You can contribute Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies. You could join me as this Patreon alternative. I have been canceled from Patreon. So you could click here to sign up for a monthly reoccurring contribution. You can also do that at Subscribestar. You can send an e-transfer to dan@pressfortruth.ca. Thank you so much to everybody who contributes in that way. You can also send stuff to my P.O. box, guys. Links for everything is located in the description below. Please take 1 minute today to support my efforts at Press for Truth. Thank you so much to everybody who does contribute. All right, guys. Let's jump into this. Take a look at this. Thousands of walkie-talkies used by Hezbollah fighters have just detonated across Lebanon, killing 14 and wounding hundreds of people, including mourners at a funeral. Witnesses and security sources have reported. The second wave of carnage comes just a day after thousands of exploding pagers used by the group left almost 3,000 people injured and dead, including civilians and children. Security sources have now confirmed that the handheld radios were purchased by Hezbollah 5 months ago, at around the same time as these compromised pagers. Lebanese media has also reported that home solar energy systems have blown up in several areas of Beirut as well. The attacks amount to the bigger security breach in Hezbollah's history, with the group and its backers, Iran, condemning Israel and labeling it as mass murder. Israel has since declared the start of a new phase of war in the Middle East, though it was careful not to make any official comment on the pager or walkie-talkie explosions. The latest explosions this afternoon have hit the country's south and the capital Beirut, where a dramatic time-lapse video shows multiple plumes of smoke rising above the skyline in different locations simultaneously. And yeah, this is quite the footage. I'll put links to all of this in the description below if you want to see it all. But all this stuff happened simultaneously in a very, very diabolical coordinated attack. And check out this, how this thing worked. This is absolutely mind-boggling. Look at this. Elijah J. Magnier, a Brussels-based senior political risk analyst, later said that he spoke with Hezbollah members who had examined pagers that failed to explode. The pagers appeared to receive a coded error message sent to the devices that caused them to vibrate and beep for some 10 seconds. When the users pressed the pager's button to cancel the alert, the explosives were detonated. A design that would ensure that the pager was being held by the user at the time of the blast to inflict maximum damage. That is absolutely wild that they could design the explosive to operate in such a way that, as I said, they sent out the message. These guys are sitting here looking at their beepers going, you know, this is weird. You know, what is this? There's some sort of error message, you know, and as soon as they click the button to get rid of the error message, kaboom, that's what detonates it. So this is why a lot of the injuries are apparently to people's hands, to their eyeballs, and to their, you know, hips and waists, because some of them would just see the message on their beeper, reach down, press the button, and kaboom. You've got this Lebanese doctor here saying that he's never had to remove more eyes before, as the hospitals overflow with maimed pager attack victims. So What a unbelievable diabolical plan by the Mossad here to, create this Trojan horse situation. It is alleged that Mossad, working in collaboration with elements of Israel's defense forces, managed to infiltrate the supply chain and plant a small quantity of high explosives inside the communication devices before they were delivered to Lebanon sometime earlier this spring. These rigged devices were subsequently distributed to thousands of unsuspecting members across the political, military, operational, and medical branches of Hezbollah before they were eventually detonated on Tuesday afternoon. Officials in Jerusalem have thus far declined to comment on the incident, but Hezbollah has placed the blame squarely on Israel and has vowed to punish it. That's, I think, kind of the bigger picture that we need to look at here as where this is heading towards. Without directly mentioning the detonations, Israeli Defense Minister praised the work of the IDF and Israel's security services, telling them that the results are very impressive. He says, "We are at the start of a new phase in the war. It requires courage, determination, and perseverance." So again, this seems to be just the beginning of something much, much larger, which begs many questions like, what's Canada's involvement going to be? And we'll get to that. But first, let me show you what the experts are saying in terms of whether or not your smartphone could be next. As I said, this is exactly what I touched on in yesterday's video. If you haven't seen it, be sure to check it out. But essentially, what this expert says, and again, I'll put links to all of this in the description below. He says essentially that it's unlikely that they would, ever be able to do this with cell phones, but he says it is possible. According to Dr. Oljanek, smartphones could potentially be targeted in these sorts of attacks instead of pagers, except smartphones could be even more easily tracked. So even the experts are suggesting that it is unlikely, but it is possible. And in fact, you would be it would be even more targeted if they were able to, use some sort of technology that could target individual devices. That's exactly what I was discussing here in this video. Again, I'll encourage you to check it out if you haven't seen it yet. I'll put a link to that in the description below. Be sure to check that out on whatever video platform you're watching this on today. But again, back to this escalation into a larger, broader war. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres warned this afternoon that the strikes could be a precursor to a large-scale confrontation between Israel and Lebanon. The logic of making all these devices explode is to do it as a preemptive strike before a major military operation. Guys, these events confirm that there is a serious risk of a dramatic escalation in Lebanon, and everything must be done to avoid that escalation. Now, let me remind you that the Canadian government has been urging its citizens to get the heck out of there because this volatile security situation that they've been aware of apparently for months and have been warning Canadians about, suggesting that they got to get out of there over fears of a war between Israel and Hezbollah. Again, not only does it beg the question of what the heck do they know, but it also begs the question of what the heck do they plan to do in the near future? Because obviously, a lot of what's happening here is retaliation after retaliation of retaliation, back and forth between these groups have been fighting for a very long time. Hezbollah has already said they're gonna get Israel back for this. So are we about to see the Canadian government launch some sort of humanitarian mission in Lebanon or in Israel to, help the innocent Israelis who have died at the hands of Hezbollah soldiers who are retaliating for this attack? Or is the Canadian government going to send billions of dollars to Israeli defense to, continue to beat the war drums towards this, when really we should have nothing to do with this war that has nothing to do with us? This is why we need to stop engaging with the Canadian government altogether. Stop, paying into the military-industrial complex who's only funding these types of wars and supporting these wars of aggression. So it's just absolutely insane. Things are escalating at a very fast pace in the Middle East. And I think Canada really, really needs to stay out of this moving forward. But I think it's going to be interesting to see how the Canadian government responds to this, because we know how government Trudeau is gung-ho for war, whether it be between, Israel and Palestine or Ukraine and Russia. It's likely he's going to want to get involved in this Lebanon situation as well. Again, yet another reason to stop paying into the military-industrial complex, by being extorted through your taxes. So just wanted to bring all of this to your attention, guys. Crazy times indeed. Again, if you missed my video from yesterday, a lot of good information contained in this video in regards to, cell phone technology already being weaponized against us. So if you haven't seen it, make sure you check it out. Once again, if you do appreciate my efforts to bring you this info, don't forget to check me out here at pressfortruth.ca/donate. Again, I cannot continue to do this work without the support that comes directly from you, the viewers. So thank you so much for watching, guys. That's all for today. I want to encourage you to please share this video with your friends and family who you think need to see it the most. Be sure to click that thumbs up button and stay tuned, guys. We're going to have more video reports coming soon, God willing. This is Dan Dicks reporting for Press for Truth. We all want truth. The truth will set you free.